Hello everyone, who are you and how'd you place and what are we playing?
Hey, I'm Captivate and I played Blue Purple Luffy. I got top 32. I ended up losing the top 32 game to a Blue Purple Luffy mirror. He was the first seed going into top 32, so he got to pick turns and then I got 2-0'd. So kind of unfortunate there, but we had a good run. I went 7-2 yesterday in Swiss. One of my losses was Zoro, and then the other loss that I had was a mirror, and the mirror ended up placing second, so he bumped me up to top 32, so thankful to him. So I'll go ahead and go through my deck list now. I'll start it off with the 2Ks, just standard here, 2 Frenosuke, and then 4 Usohachi. I think Frenosuke is a lot more important than the Sanji blocker in specifically black decks like Lucci and Teach. Sometimes you just need a rusher to finish the game. And then Usohachi is just a standard 2K. You push for game with it quite often. So he's always going to be a 4 of. I see some people playing like the vanilla 2K that I've kind of considered as just an additional hit off of Sanji just to get like a relevant body in play, but I never actually experimented with it. And then we have like fairly standard ramp package for bodies. We have 4 Banquet, 3 Zorojuro. I played a little bit with It's to Die For. I played It's to Die For a little bit, but decided that I needed to increase the cards that had counter as well as Straw Hat cards so that I could search them off of leader effect. Because if you go too low, then you end up whiffing, and then once you whiff once or twice, you usually end up losing the game. Just missing those like 1 or 2 cards in hand is pretty important. And then finally, or not finally, and then we have the bosses of the deck. These are really what you're ramping towards. We have the standard 4 Sanji, 3 Dofi, 2 Luffy, and then 2 Mihawk. I played around with the ratios of these bosses a lot, trying to figure out this deck list, and I really like Dofi. It's really hard to say what's better because a lot of these cards are good into different decks and then bad into the other decks. So I think Mihawk is really good into something like Bonnie. Luffy is really good into black decks, and then Rosinante is really good into Zoro. And the Rosinante pairs, or Doflamingo pairs with the Rosinante here. So you can play him off of the Doflamingo. And then he really is the MVP of the deck after bans because you can't heal. So you typically keep yourself alive with all the events that we play. And him restanding 2 Dawn at the end of your turn gives you a lot of Dawn to work with. So you can typically end your turn, restand 2, and then leave up like 4 or 6 Dawn and then just never die.
Yeah.
Continuing on from there, we do have the 4 Nami. I think this is a minimum that you have to play in Blue Purple. You just play your bosses, play Nami, and then again, you don't die. And then in terms of all of the counter events that we play, I played 2 Judgment of Hell. This is specifically really good into Zoro. It kind of can come up into Rayleigh because you can just get rid of one of their attackers, but specifically for Zoro, the fact that it's for the whole turn, really good into their leader. If they try to just jam you down, you can use this -3 and then get out of it with another event pretty easily. 3 Bagua. This has become standard after the ban list, now that we have a little bit more space, now that we've lost the bosses that we were playing. And then again, we just need more survivability, and then this gives you survivability while ramping. 4 Gear 2, this is another ramp card. If you whiff on the rampers over here, you can just use this. It's typically going to be the last one you use, and then oftentimes you'll use it on your way to 10 Dawn because it doesn't Dawn minus like this or the Giant. So you can use this to get out of a nice like 8K swing or something like that and then not have to take the life. 3 God Threads, this is another part of the rampers over here. This is specifically really good into green decks. If they don't play any KO protection, then you can just KO their 5 cost, and you typically blow the game out if that happens. And then finally, we have 2 1-ofs, just 1 Red Rock, 1 Pudding. I did not play Pudding a single time through all of Swiss, and then Red Rock comes up in a lot of the big body decks like Bonnie, Enel, any of those like mid-range decks that play big bodies. You typically want to have at least 1. I would like to go to 2 for something like Teach, but I think 1 is fine. I think 1 is a minimum. But yeah, this is the deck list.
Yeah. Did you miss Gravity Blade or Kyros at all? I saw a lot of people playing Kyros this weekend.
I think Kyros helps your Zoro matchup a lot to be able to bounce their 5 cost if they don't play Tashigi, and even if they do play Tashigi, you can still bounce their 5 cost Tashigi. So I think specifically into Zoro, Kyros is really good. Green decks in general, Kyros is really good. I don't feel like I really missed it all that much because I'm just ramping into playing like 2 or 3 bodies or a rusher, and then I can typically just overwhelm them with the amount of bodies I have on board without really needing to bounce anything that they have.
Yeah. Did you miss anything else about the deck?
I have a couple things that I'm not like super set on going forward. I would have liked to have like another Zoro. There was one game where I just didn't ramp at all, and those games feel pretty bad because you just even with them on Dawn and don't get to cheat anything out quickly.
Yeah.
And then I would like to have a 4th God Thread. That's another thing that I would like to make, but I don't know where I would make the space for it at.
Yeah. And then how are your matchups?
I can go over them real quick. So I played 2 Zoro to start off, and then a purple Luffy. I won all 3 of those. The 4th round, I played Mirror and then lost. That guy ended up getting 2nd, so thank you again to him for getting my breakers up. I played a Bonnie, which I won. I played a Zoro. This Zoro actually just hit me every turn, and my opening hand was like triple Sanji, Dofi, and then Red Rock. And I just didn't have any counter to stay alive before I was able to get to 8 Dawn and leader effects. And then I won out from there, and I played a Bonnie, a Koala, and a Smoker.
Yep. And what did you lose to in Top Cut?
I played the Mirror. He was able to go first, and he was playing a list that had 3 puddings, and I just got puddinged and didn't draw into the counter I needed.
Fair enough. Thank you for your time. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend.
Yeah, thank you.